Hello, I'm Julian Raffay, the Bishop of Sheffield's advisor on spirituality. May I first thank you for your interest in spiritual accompaniment, also known as spiritual direction. I commend it to you warmly. I've personally enjoyed and benefited from accompaniment over 30 years. Indeed, if I'm honest with you, I've worked my way through a few accompaniers over my time. However, in every instance, they have helped me deepen my faith, my self-awareness, and my understanding of God's purposes for my life within the wider place of His purposes for creation. I have greatly valued their nurturing approach and indeed the odd, gentle challenge, which has always been entirely appropriate. In this video, I am going to outline spiritual accompaniment in the Diocese of Sheffield. At the end of the video, you'll see a QR code linking you to our website. You may wish to have your mobile phone camera to hand. This video is in two sections. In the first, I'll briefly introduce spirituality and spiritual accompaniment. In the second, I'll outline how spiritual accompaniment works in Sheffield Diocese. I'll offer a how-to section with pointers for signing up to receive spiritual accompaniment or train to become an accompanier. In between the sections, I'll briefly explain the choice of video background. So, beginning with spirituality and spiritual accompaniment, we may reasonably ask ourselves the question, who is spiritual accompaniment for? The short answer is for everyone. Spiritual accompaniment is open to anyone wishing to explore their faith journey. There are no expectations or special requirements, just an interest in sharing your story with another person. You may be asking yourself, what is spirituality? Well, since everyone is unique, it's not surprising, but there are as many definitions of spirituality as expressions of it, i.e., people. If you've got time to spare, have fun with an internet browser or something like AI. You'll find some unorthodox stuff in the mix, of course, so may I encourage you to be discerning as you go about the task. What of spiritual accompaniment? Though often associated with Roman Catholicism, Christians and indeed others from all traditions are generally surprised by how relevant it can be to their walk with God. The Retreat Association defines spiritual accompaniment as a way of meeting with someone, a spiritual director or guide, to share your thoughts and reflections about your faith. From a Christian perspective, we might add a reference to the divine, or more specifically to Jesus, and probably something about how we live our life in his service. Thus, we would end up with something along the lines of a way of meeting with someone, a spiritual director or guide, to share your thoughts and reflections about your faith in Jesus and your experience of living as a Christian. In their book, The Practice of Spiritual Direction, William Barry and William Connolly suggest that spiritual direction is directly concerned with a person's actual experience of the relationship with God. The key words are experiences, relationship, and of course, supremely, God. Spiritual accompaniment is usually one-to-one, with meetings lasting an hour or so and taking place roughly every 6 weeks, often running over several years. They usually happen face-to-face, but since COVID, online encounters have been found to be effective by many. A note on the safeguarding and disclosures. Both accompanier and the person seeking accompaniment meet in a privileged space. It is vital that both should be safe. For this reason, both are invited to share any concerns they may have with the leadership or relevant safeguarding authorities. While conversations are normally confidential, there are two circumstances in which they may be shared. The first and most commonplace is where the accompanier anonymously, note carefully anonymously, shares information with their supervisor as part of their own learning and ongoing development. The second is where a safeguarding disclosure is made. Under these circumstances, either partner is obliged to share that information. We thank you for your understanding of this important matter. So that's spirituality and spiritual accompaniment, but what we ask is a spiritual accompanier. A spiritual accompanier is someone who has specific skills and training in listening, in helping you to reflect more deeply about your faith journey, in helping you to reflect on your relationship with God. Spiritual accompaniers reflect a wide variety of ages, denominations, and traditions. They may be ordained from a religious order or be a lay person. Some are male and others are female. Most accompaniers do not charge, though some ask for a donation for their time and may suggest a fee. Concessions are usually made for people who are unwaged. However, if this would not work for you, just let us know when you get in touch. So that brings us to the end of the first half of this video, and we're probably now about 2/3 through. Let me explain my choice of background. You may recognize this video as a picture of a trail through a forest. Significantly, in such trails, there are often two adjacent tracks, and this provides a good image of accompaniment. The way ahead isn't always as straightforward, and it's then that a discerning companion brings strength, hope, and encouragement. You'll appreciate why we've chosen this image for our publicity. We have now come to the second part of our video, where I will explain how things work in Sheffield Diocese. We have over 50 accompaniers. Some of these are Roman Catholic, others Methodist, some Free Church. They're certainly not all Anglican. And they are a reasonably diverse group of people from across the traditions and across the region. You may be asking yourself, how might I receive spiritual accompaniment? Well, if you're interested in doing so, please contact Susanna Schofield, who'll put you in touch with a member of our referral team who will explore what you're looking for and the kind of person who may be suitable. They will give you the contact details of two accompaniers. There is, of course, no obligation at any stage, and we are here to support you. If you consider neither quite what you're looking for, you can always ask for other names. The choice of whom you meet with as your spiritual accompanier is entirely up for you. The most important thing is to find someone with whom you feel comfortable. My own experience is that we want someone we relate to easily and naturally, but not necessarily someone who is simply like ourselves. It's often of benefit for our spiritual growth to have someone with a different life experience, perhaps from another denomination, etc., etc., so that we can grow and gain from their insights. as well as simply the familiar. But equally, if you're going through a bad patch and just are looking for consolation, I shouldn't say just, if you're looking for consolation and a bit of space, a bit of peace, and support is the single most important thing, then by all means find someone just like yourself who will give you that courage and strength. Question: how we might become a spiritual accompanier. Formation as an accompanier takes place over 2 or more years. It involves completing our 2 main courses, whose names describe what you will encounter. The first of these is Spiritual Growth and Transformation, a broad introduction to spirituality that will deepen your understanding of where you stand in relation to God. And the second, The Art of Spiritual Accompaniment, is for those exploring a vocation, more specifically to become spiritual accompaniers. Both involve a one-to-one pre-course meeting, and discernment happens throughout the entire program. Assuming successful completion, we will add your name to our list of accompaniers, and you will be offered supervision. All accompaniers are required to participate in renewable online safeguarding training. A note on diversity. Sheffield Diocese covers a diverse geographical area, as I mentioned, and a range of communities. Within these communities, there are people from all walks of life whom we want to support and serve. As such, we welcome inquiries from anyone. We are particularly keen to engage prospective accompaniers from groups that are typically underrepresented in this kind of work. If you are unsure or simply hesitant, please do get in touch with either Susanna or with me. We will listen to your hopes and concerns and see how we can respond accordingly. So summing up, this video has been in 2 sections. In the first, I outlined spirituality and spiritual accompaniment. In the second, I described how it works in Sheffield Diocese. All that remains is for me to display the QR code as promised. If you don't like such newfangled tech, simply type the 3 words Sheffield Diocese Spirituality into a web browser, and that should take you forward from there. So finally, I'm going to pass you over to the QR code. Thank you so much for listening. Take care and God bless.